Hey there, can you tell me what your full name is?
Okay.
What's your full name?
Rose Jacunski.
And how did your parents decide on that name for you? How did they decide it? Is there someone in your family with the same name?
I would know.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you have a nickname?
No.
No, you were never called Rosie? You were called Rosemary?
Rosie, yeah, it was called
Okay.
Rosie, yeah.
All right. When and where were you born?
I was born in St. Louis in March of 12, 1914.
Wow. Okay. And can you tell me the story about how your family came to live in St. Louis?
Well, both my mother and father's family came to St. Louis because they had relatives here. My mother had one sister here, and my father had two brothers.
Okay. And when did they come over here? Do you know?
Well, they had to come over here between 1904 and 1912 because Louis was born in 1912.
Wow.
So I guess my mother must have got married around 1911, I guess, or 1910, one of the two.
Okay. And tell me the story about how your parents met. How did your mom and dad meet?
Oh, they met at a Polish dance. That was around the Polish church at St. Stanislav Kosta Church.
Okay. And can you tell me anything about your mom's family that would be interesting to share?
Well, the only thing I know is that my mother had two sisters, and because there were three girls and two boys.
Okay. And can you tell me the story about when great-grandmother was coming over here from Poland? How that worked out?
Oh, when she was on the boat, well, she was supposed to keep her money, but she spent some of it on the boat, and then when she got to New York, why, she didn't have enough of money to travel to St. Louis on the train.
Yeah.
So they had a telegraph to her sister, which was Aunt Bernice, and they telegraphed money over there so she could come. And they also sent money for a girl that came with my mother.
Now, when your mother came to live in St. Louis, she went to work?
Oh yeah, she worked in a dress place.
Okay.
Dress factory.
Okay. And what happened to all her family in Poland? Did they stay? Did they come over?
No. They had a farm there. They didn't. The two brothers and the father and mother stayed there.
Okay. And can you tell me the story about the uncle over in Poland with his son and daughter, the one that got Grandma's wedding dress?
What?
The family that got the Grandma's wedding dress.
Oh, that's the one I'm talking about. That was my mother's family.
But tell me about the little boy cousin that was out with his friends. Tell me that story that you remember after the war.
Oh, after the war, when she... Oh, you mean my cousin, the boy?
Mm-hmm.
He was out with his little friend, and they were roaming around, because don't forget they were out in the country area, like, and they saw something round, and they hit it with a stick, and it exploded. It was one of the bombs that fell on the earth and didn't explode at the time that
Wow.
it was supposed to.
Okay. And then tell me about how you guys used to send money over to your family.
Oh, we send it over in clothes. We would rip a seam off, and what we do, the bottom part, and put money in there.
Okay. Now, can you tell me about growing up with your parents? What was that like?
Oh, well, it was just family. Nothing much.
Do you have anything that was interesting? Any stories that you want to tell about growing up with Grandma?
Oh, Grandma. grandma. Francie was the what would you call it, the rebel of us girls, of us three girls, and she would always do things. And when we had to wash the clothes on the when we had a washboard, why she would always take socks or some little piece to wash and then come and say, it's your turn, it's your turn, until we discovered what she was doing, you know.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, I had a twin, and Francie, and my sister Babe, which her really name was Hedwig. And we had one brother, which was the elder of the group, and he was Louis Baltimore. His middle name was Bartholomew, and Louis Bartholomew. He was named after saints, you know, on the calendar.
Okay. Now, can you tell me your great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, your grandfather, did he live in America, or did he stay in Poland?
Oh, he never came over here, but one of his sons came over here a couple of times and would have stayed here, but when my grandfather got ill, he sent notice for him to come back.
Now, when you were younger, did you get an allowance?
Oh no, we never got an allowance.
So you didn't. So did you went to high school?
No, I didn't go to high school.
Okay. So did you work?
Yeah.
What was your first job?
I worked at a shoe company. I worked there for 40 years.
And what was your salary? What'd you earn?
Well, my beginning salary was 25 cents an hour. And at the ending, it was $3 an hour.
Wow, that's a lot of raises. Do you remember getting your very first paycheck? When you got paid for the first time, did you get paid every day, or did you get paid once a week?
Oh no, we were paid weekly.
Do you know what you did when you got your first paycheck? What'd you do with
I
it?
gave it to my mother. Yeah.
Well, that was important. Did you have any pets growing up?
What?
Any pets? Dogs, cats, chickens?
Well, my mother, yeah. My mother had chickens and ducks. And I guess about the chickens and ducks, yeah, I don't think we didn't have anything. And when we lived in Walnut Park, and it belonged to the city of St. Louis. It was part of the city of St. Louis, but it was more open. It was like farmland, but not actually farmland, because you had streets and stuff, you know. But we had a lot of open land, and we had a big forest. Right, we lived on Lillian Avenue, and the other side of our street was this big forest, and we used to run in there and everything. And a lot of the boys got together and would roam in that big forest, and we called the man who owned it Old Man Rippy, and he would go around with pepper gun or whatever you call it and shoot around, you know. It was real nice. Really, we had a nice childhood because we had all that open land. And
now, the chickens, were they pets or were they dinner?
Oh no, they were dinners.
So did you go out and catch the chickens, or did your mom?
I didn't do it. My mother did it.
And how did you guys spend holidays? Did you do anything special for holidays? Like Christmas or Thanksgiving? Was there any special tradition that you guys used to do? Or was it just like normal?
No, it was, we always had special eats like Polish kielbasa and kishka and that on holidays, my mother would go to this Polish place. They made the Polish sausage and stuff. She would take a streetcar and that and go and buy it. Yeah, that was really a good thing. We always had that on Christmas. And at church, the night before, the day before, like you would put your things in a basket, what you're going to eat for breakfast, like eggs and sausage and stuff. And when you would go to church, and the priest would come and bless all that.
Wow. And do you remember any of your Christmas gifts that you got? And if so, what was your favorite or most memorable gift?
We didn't get much of anything.
You didn't? Did you ever get a Christmas gift?
What?
Didn't you get a Christmas gift? I thought you got a doll once. Didn't you get a doll?
Yeah, I got a doll, but that was we earned that doll. We had to get like prescriptions for magazines. People buy prescriptions for the paper, the daily paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I got one doll. So that was it. We didn't have much like big gifts or something, because I don't think they did that in Poland.
So, what was it like in St. Louis back when you were growing up? You explained a little bit about where you lived, but it's changed so much since you were little. But what is your favorite memory of growing up in St. Louis?
Well, I don't really know, because we had so much open places to play and stuff. It was really neat,
Now, when Frances got married, were you in her wedding? Were you a bridesmaid in her wedding?
Oh yeah, all of us were in the wedding party.
And did you like her? Did you like Marvin, her husband? Did you like him? Was he a nice guy?
Yeah. Yeah. We had it in our yard, the reception, and I don't know what Marvin got. I think like a board or something that you put out and you could dance on it. You rented it like that, and that's what we had out there. And we danced out in our backyard. We lived on Plover at the time.
And did you like being an aunt to Stephen and Marvin and Janice? Did you like being their aunt? Did you visit with them a lot?
We were good to them. We were really good to them. Yeah, I used to make Janice dresses and everything.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I would make her outfit, and then I'd have material left, and I'd make her a pair of pants, and she just loved that.
Now, when you got older, you lived in downtown St. Louis. Didn't you live on Rhodes?
Yeah. Oh, but that was long. We lived on Plover, and then after the war, we sold it. We lived on Albert, and then from Albert, we didn't like our neighbors. And so then we sold that and went and bought on Auburn.
And now, can you tell me a little bit about great grandpa that was in the cavalry in the Russian,
My father.
Japanese war? What his role was, and how any stories that you heard about that?
Well, my father was, he was in cavalry. They had horses, and it was his job. Like I told you, they bunked in China, and it was his job for his regiment to go out and buy food for the troops.
Interesting.
That's what he had. That was his job.
Now, when they came over to America, did your brother or anyone in your family have to, were they in the service? Did they join up? Did they fight any wars?
Oh, my brother was a CB in the Navy, yeah.
Do you have any fun stories to talk about with your brother? Any interesting stories to share about him?
No, not too much, because I guess he hated probably having all the girls and the boys. No.
Okay, so tell me about before you used to, your mom used to write to all of your family over in Poland, but she had to, what happened with your grandfather? I mean, how old was he when he passed away, and do you know what he passed away from?
No.
No?
We at that time, people was like you say, you see but not hear.
So that's what children were? They were to be seen and not heard?
Yeah.
So nobody told you anything about it? So you just didn't know?
No, no. And I wish I would have talked to him. I didn't know anything about my father's relatives outside of his two brothers, but he had I know he had one sister because her name, he used to call her Thekla, but outside of that, I don't know if he had more in his family or not. It seems that my father's brother, Zenon, he seemed to contact their side of the family, and on my father's side, my father let my mother do all her family stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. So that was it on that part. Yeah.
So did you live with your mom and dad your whole life?
Yeah.
And so tell me about your sister. What was it like having a twin? Did you like it? Did you always have a buddy? Did you guys always get along?
Yeah. Hi.
Did you guys always get along?
What?
Did you and your sister always get along?
Oh, we had our spats.
And now she passed away. Do you know what she passed away from?
Cervical cancer.
Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. So tell me what it was like after your mom passed away, and did you and Violet live together in the house?
Oh, no.
Or was Violet had she already passed from cervical?
Violet and Louis had their own place. And when Louis died, see, my mother died in 73. Louis died in 77.
Wow.
So naturally, Violet lived with Louis all that while. And then when Louis died, she came from Gulfport, Mississippi. And she went back home.
Oh. So tell me your twin sister's full name, please.
What?
Your sister. We've got Frances, and there's Louie, and what's your sister's name?
Who's
Your sister, your twin sister. What's her name?
Annie.
Annie.
Yeah.
And did you and Annie live in your mom's house after your mom passed away?
You're my dad, you mean?
Your mom and dad both passed away.
Annie was dead already.
She was already dead before your mom? How old was she when she died?
She died in 63, and my mother died in 73.
Wow. How was that? What was that like after Annie passed away? Did that dynamic in the house change? Did things change, or was it just the same as normal?
Oh, it was. Both of us were real sad and stuff until the years passed.
And Grandma Frances was already. She was already out of the house.
Oh.
Was she already? She was already married to Grandpa
Yeah.
and out of the house.
Well, she was. We lived on Plover when Francie got married. I told you, so naturally she went and lived at Marvin.
So when your mother passed away, you lived in her house alone?
Yeah, I lived by myself.
And what was that like? Did you drive?
No, I never drove.
So you walked everywhere?
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive. So now we're doing this so that we have a history to pass on to our family. Is there anything that you would like to share? Anything special? Any stories that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about?
Well, now, after I retired, then my trouble started. I had a serious operation in 80, which was, I had a hysterectomy, and it was cancerous. And then it came back in 82, and I had my bladder removed, and I wore a bag.
Wow, after all that stuff, it's you are just one. I hope that I have the same genes as you, because you're a tough cookie. How old are you right now?
I'm 98.
And when you retired, how old were you when you retired?
Let's see. It was about 61. But the reason I had to retire was because at that particular time, the companies were closing down and moving to foreign countries.
Mm-hmm.
And manufacturing shoes in foreign countries.
So you worked at a shoe company your whole life?
Yeah.
And when you retired, when you were in your 60s, you were making $3 an hour?
Yeah.
Wow. And did you work for the same company the whole time?
Yeah. Just my regular place that I worked with closed up first. Then I went into another shoe company and worked until they closed up.
And what'd you do there? Did you fix shoes? Did you make shoes?
I sewed.
Interesting. That's very cool. So is there anything else that you want to talk about?
After I graduated from high school, Annie and I both went to a private secretarial school for a year. And so Annie got to work in the office, but I couldn't find a job. And then a girlfriend of mine, her sister worked at a shoe company, and when they had an opening, they got me the job there. That's how come I got to work in the shoe company.
And what did Frances do after high school?
After Frances graduated from high school, she went to technical school for a year, and she took a beauty culture.
So she did hair, and did she do anything else, or did she?
Well, yeah, she had the whole work. They studied skin and so she made facials and hair and manicuring and the whole works.
So you had two sisters and a brother? Two sisters and a brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how many?
Two sisters. I had 3 sisters and the brother.
Oh, Babe. She's the baby.
Yeah.
Is that why she's nicknamed Babe?
Yeah.
So when Babe graduated from high school, what did she do?
She went into service. She was in the Army.
And do you know what she was a WAC?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's the name that they gave the women who went into service.
What did she do there?
AC.
So what did she do there? Was she a nurse? Was she?
Yeah.
She was a nurse?
They trained them like to be a nurse. And then when she got out of service, she went to chiropractic college for 4 years.
So she's a chiropractor?
Yeah, she's a chiropractor, and she married a chiropractor.
So obviously they met in school?
What?
She met her husband in school?
Yeah.
She met her husband at school?
Yeah.
Then what made her move? Because she doesn't live in St. Louis.
Because he was from Oklahoma.
Okay. Well.
He came to St. Louis for the chiropractic college, and he came to St. Louis, and she met him there.
Interesting. So is there anything that we need to know about our family? Any crazy stories or weird things? Or do we have any family members that were famous? Or did we have any family members that did anything wrong?
Not that I know of. No. Ordinary.
No, ordinary. No, we're not ordinary. You're 98 years old. We are not ordinary. You come from strong genes. So is there anything else that you want to share with us so that I can pass it on to everybody?
Not that I know of.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.